Okay, so you know that like that little moment when you send a text message and you're waiting for that delivered notification
Oh, yeah.
and it just kind of like doesn't show up right away? You get that like split second of, huh,
Yeah.
did it even go through? Like, it's unsettling, right?
It is. It's like you're waiting for that like validation that the message has actually like gone out to the ether, and it's like that pause of uncertainty can be really, I don't know.
It's surprisingly like unnerving for such a tiny thing, right?
Yeah.
Now imagine like, okay, let's ramp this up a little bit.
Okay.
Imagine you're approving like a $500,000 payment to a vendor, a critical vendor, and it's just sitting there.
Oh.
And you're waiting for that confirmation. It's
Yeah.
like that same question, but it's amplified, right? Did it actually process?
Yeah, the stakes are way higher.
It's like a whole different level of anxiety.
Totally.
And what's so interesting to me is that this whole experience, it's not just about like impatience, you know?
Right.
It actually goes deeper.
Yeah.
It like connects to how our brains are wired to perceive time and feedback.
It definitely has some like psychological underpinnings there.
It does. And that's what we're diving into today.
Okay, cool.
We're going to explore why that perception of speed, how fast something feels, is as crucial as the actual, milliseconds it takes.
I like that. You're calling it felt speed.
Yeah, felt speed. I think it captures it perfectly, right?
Yes, it does. It does.
And to really dig into this, we're going to be referencing Seconds of Stress, a report from wdiragency.
Okay, great.
And what we're going to find is that by understanding and like really optimizing for felt speed, companies can have a huge impact on their decision-making, their cash flow, everything.
And what's really interesting is that it's not just about making payment systems technically faster.
Right.
It's about that user perception, how they actually experience that time.
Right.
Especially when you're talking about large amounts of money.
So to kick things off, can we start with the basics? Like, what exactly is temporal UX?
Sure. Temporal UX basically boils down to how users experience time when they're using a digital product.
Okay.
It's how they perceive durations, delays, the whole rhythm of their interactions.
Okay.
And this is where behavioral economics comes into play.
Okay.
Specifically the concept of immediacy bias.
Oh, immediacy bias. I've heard of that, but can you just like remind us what that is again?
Oh, totally. It's basically our tendency to want things right now.
Uh-huh.
We favor those immediate rewards and feedback,
Yeah.
even if waiting would give us something better in the long run.
It's like that instant gratification thing.
Exactly. Think about it.
Yeah.
We're more motivated by something we can get right this second versus waiting for something better later.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So in the context of payment systems, this means we really want that instant confirmation that our payment went through, right?
Yeah.
Whether we're initiating it or approving it, like that little delay, even if it's just for a few seconds, it can feel way longer, and it can really trigger that anxiety, especially if the system doesn't give you any feedback that it's working.
Because it's like without that immediate feedback, our minds, they kind of go to the worst case scenario.
Totally. Even if we know logically that it probably just takes a few seconds to process.
Exactly. And it's almost like, our perception of time gets all warped in these digital spaces.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Research actually shows that a 2-second delay, if there's no sign that anything's happening, it feels way longer than 2 seconds, with a clear indicator that things are moving forward.
That's interesting.
It's like our brains just hate uncertainty.
Makes sense. So if even like tiny delays can feel like forever without feedback, what's the solution?
Well, the report talks a lot about what they call micro interactions.
Okay.
And those can be a really effective way to bridge that gap.
Okay, so what exactly are micro interactions?
There's tiny visual cues, sounds, even like tactile feedback you get when you do something in a digital interface.
Okay, so like, are we talking about like those little spinning wheels when something's loading?
Exactly. Or that check mark that pops up when you complete a task. Even the little vibration you feel on your phone when you tap a button.
Oh, okay. I get it. Like when you upload a file and that little progress bar starts moving?
Yes. Those tiny details are so powerful because they tell you,
Yeah.
hey, the system's doing its thing, it's working.
I like these little reassurances that things are happening.
Exactly. And they help bridge that gap between the actual processing time, the real speed, and how fast it feels to you, the felt speed.
They make you feel like you're not just stuck.
Exactly. And the key here is that those micro interactions need to be simple, clear, not distracting, and easy to understand.
Yeah, they shouldn't add more confusion to the whole thing.
Exactly. They should just provide that subtle reassurance.
Okay, so we've got real speed, the actual time it takes, and felt speed, how quickly it feels.
Right.
But why is this distinction so important when we're talking about, financial stuff, payments?
Well, because when those two don't line up, that's where you start to get that stress and anxiety. The report has this great analogy about waiting in line for coffee.
Okay.
Imagine you're standing there, and you have no idea how long the wait's going to be.
Yeah.
Every minute feels like an eternity, right?
Oh, yeah.
But if the barista, acknowledges you, says, hey, I'm working on your order, or you can see them making your drink, suddenly the wait feels shorter.
Yeah. Even though the actual time hasn't changed at all.
Exactly. It's all about that feedback shaping your perception of time. And it's the same with these payment systems.
Because it gives you a sense of control, right?
Totally. Even if a B2B payment is processed super quickly on the back end, if you don't feel that speed, you're still going to have that uncertainty and that anxiety.
Okay, so we get the difference, but why is this temporal UX so crucial in the world of B2B payments specifically?
Right. It's about more than just making things a bit smoother for the user. The report actually highlights several reasons why it's super important in this area.
Okay, let's hear them.
So, firstly, it directly impacts decision-making.
Oh, okay.
Like in a lot of companies, approving a vendor payment, especially a large one, it's not a small decision.
It's a big deal.
Yeah, it's a big financial decision that needs careful consideration.
Right.
And if the payment interface is slow, confusing, it can actually create doubt in the decision maker's mind. They might hesitate, second-guess their approval, if the system doesn't clearly tell them what's happening with the transaction.
Wait, is this actually working?
Exactly. And that lack of transparency, it can lead to more risk aversion, huge delays in those crucial financial operations.
Because if you don't trust that the system's working as it should, you're naturally going to be more hesitant to hit that approve button.
Exactly. It's all about that trust.
Okay, so decision-making is one area. What else?
Well, felt speed is also crucial for cash flow management.
Oh, right, because cash flow's like the lifeblood of a business.
Right. Totally.
Yeah.
And even what might seem like small delays in that payment interface, they can have a ripple effect on the whole financial planning of the company.
Like if things are held up because the system feels unresponsive?
Exactly. It throws off forecasts, strains relationships with vendors who are waiting to get paid. It can even affect the company's liquidity.
Wow. So it's not just about the one transaction.
Right.
It's about the big picture.
It's about the bigger financial health and stability of the company.
Okay, got it. So we've got decision making, we've got cash flow. What's the third reason?
This one's really important.
Yeah.
Building trust and confidence.
Especially with B2B payments, right? Where you're dealing with often large sums of money.
Yeah, in that realm, trust is absolutely crucial.
Yeah.
So a well-designed interface that gives you clear updates. It reassures you that the process is secure, reliable.
Right.
But on the flip side, if you don't have that feedback, you might start worrying about errors, system failures, even fraud.
Especially when you're talking about big amounts.
Exactly. Even a small negative experience with the user interface can really damage that trust.
Yeah, you need to have that confidence that the money's going where it's supposed to, especially with those large sums. Okay, so what about the people actually using these systems on a daily basis?
That brings us to the fourth point. Reducing cognitive load.
Okay.
So the professionals who are using these systems, they're already dealing with tons of responsibility.
Yeah.
Complex financial decisions every single day.
Oh, totally.
And if the interface is clunky, slow, it just adds to their mental burden.
Makes their job harder.
Exactly. But if you design for felt speed, make the system feel more responsive, you're actually reducing that cognitive load.
That's like taking a weight off their shoulders.
Exactly. It makes the system easier to use, less stressful. And it lets them focus on their actual work, not fighting with the technology.
So it's about respecting their time and their mental energy.
Absolutely.
Okay, so all of this sounds great, but how do we actually design for this, this felt speed?
Well, the report actually gives some really practical strategies for doing that.
Okay, I'm all ears.
So the first one is all about immediate visual feedback.
Okay.
The second you initiate a payment or approve one, there should be a visual cue that the system's got it.
Right away.
Right away. Like a progress indicator that pops up instantly, even if the back-end processing takes a little longer.
It's like saying, okay, got it, we're on it.
Exactly. It makes a huge difference in how responsive the system feels.
It makes you feel heard.
Yeah. And then the second strategy is to use really clear and concise messaging.
Okay.
So instead of those vague notifications or super technical jargon. The system should just tell you in plain English what's going on.
Like what?
Like payment in progress, verifying details, processing your request, things like that.
Easy to understand.
Keep it simple. Keep it direct. No jargon.
Got it. What's next?
The third one is using smart animations.
Animations, okay.
But here's the caveat. The report warns against using too many or ones that are too complex.
Right, because then it can actually slow down the perceived speed.
Exactly. So the key is to use animations that are simple, purposeful, like a progress bar that moves smoothly, a check mark that appears when something's done. They provide that sense of movement and progress without being distracting.
So animations that actually serve a purpose, not just for looks.
Exactly. Form and function.
I like it. Okay, what's the next strategy?
This one's about testing.
Testing, okay.
But not just for the technical speed. You know how many milliseconds something takes?
Right.
It's about actively getting feedback from users on how fast the system feels to them.
So you're actually asking the people who are using it.
Exactly. You do usability testing, specifically focusing on those moments when they're waiting for something to happen.
That's interesting.
And that can help you identify those points where the felt speed doesn't match the real speed.
Where it feels slow, even if it's not actually slow.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then you can tweak things,
Yeah.
adjust the timing, refine the visuals so that they line up better.
It's like fine-tuning the experience.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because you can have the fastest system in the world, but if it feels slow to the user,
Yeah.
that's their reality.
That's what they're going to remember.
Exactly.
Okay, so what's the last strategy?
Don't underestimate the power of micro-interactions.
Oh, right. Those little details we were talking about before.
Exactly. Things like a little vibration when you press a button, a confirmation sound when an action is successful.
Yeah.
They might seem small, but they add up.
They make the whole thing feel more responsive.
Yes, they're those constant little reassurances that the system is listening, acknowledging your actions.
It's like they're saying, we hear you, we're working on it.
Exactly.
So it's about layering those feedback mechanisms, right? Visuals, sounds, even touch.
Exactly. And when you do that well, it really makes the whole process feel smoother, faster, even if the underlying processing time hasn't changed.
It's like creating a more intuitive flow.
Exactly.
So we've talked a lot about the user experience, but what about the business impact?
Right.
Like, what are the tangible benefits for a company that actually prioritizes this temporal UX in their systems?
Well, the report outlines several key benefits that come with improving this felt speed.
Okay, let's hear them. What's the first one?
Faster payment approvals.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, when the system provides clear, immediate feedback,
Uh-huh.
and it minimizes those perceived delays, decision makers are way more likely to approve payments quickly and confidently.
Yeah, because they trust that the system's doing its thing.
Exactly. And that directly speeds up cash flow, reduces the risk of missing out on time-sensitive opportunities.
So it's about efficiency and keeping things moving.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Time is money, as they say.
Okay, so faster approvals. What's the second benefit?
Happier users.
Okay, so increased user satisfaction.
Exactly. When the system is efficient, responsive, transparent, it minimizes user frustration, reduces the chance of errors or second guessing.
So they're less likely to get annoyed and make mistakes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And satisfied users are more likely to trust the system. They'll keep using it effectively, which means greater overall efficiency.
Makes sense. What's the next benefit?
Better financial forecasting.
Oh, okay. How so?
Well, when payments are processed smoothly and on time, and users have that clear understanding of what's happening, it becomes much easier to predict cash flow accurately.
So you can plan better.
Exactly. It allows for more informed financial decision-making.
Because you have a clearer picture of your financial situation.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've got faster approvals, happier users, better forecasting. What else?
This one's about trust and credibility.
Okay.
When you have a payment system that communicates clearly and feels responsive, it shows your users and partners that you're reliable, detail-oriented.
You're taking things seriously.
Exactly. And that builds trust, which is so important in B2B transactions.
Yeah, especially when large sums of money are involved.
Absolutely. And that trust, it strengthens relationships, enhances your reputation in the market.
So it's about building confidence in your brand.
Exactly.
Okay, so what's the final benefit?
This one brings us back to the user experience.
Okay.
Lower cognitive load leads to higher efficiency.
So when the payment process feels smoother.
Yeah, more intuitive, less stressful. It reduces the mental effort required from users,
Right.
which means they can focus on their core tasks.
They can get more done.
Exactly. Faster processing times, fewer mistakes, better business outcomes.
Because they're not bogged down by the technology.
Right.
So it's a win-win for everyone.
Exactly. A better user experience equals better business results.
Okay, so this is all very convincing.
Mm-hmm.
But does the report have any, real-world examples of how this actually plays out?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh.
There are some really compelling cases.
Okay, what's one of them?
Well, there's this one about a big financial institution that had this issue with a delayed checkmark.
Delayed checkmark.
Yeah, so after users clicked approve payment, they'd see a blank screen for a few seconds before getting any confirmation.
Okay.
And it was causing a lot of anxiety and uncertainty.
Because they were just left hanging, not knowing what was going on.
Exactly. So they made a simple change.
What did they do?
They added a little animated check mark that popped up immediately after the click.
Oh, okay.
Just that tiny change led to much higher user satisfaction scores.
Really?
Yeah, and it significantly decreased the time it took for users to approve payments.
Wow, so just that little visual cue made a huge difference.
Exactly. It's amazing how powerful those tiny details can be.
Yeah, all about perception.
Totally.
Do you have another example?
Yeah, there's this one about a fintech company that was having some cash flow problems.
Okay.
And they found out that a big part of it was because users weren't sure if their transactions were actually going through.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so they were hesitant to initiate and approve payments, which was causing delays. So what they did was they implemented much clearer messaging throughout the whole payment process.
Okay.
And they added a real-time progress bar so people could see what was happening.
So more transparency.
Exactly. They kept their users informed every step of the way.
That makes sense.
And it made their system feel much faster and more reliable.
And that helped with their cash flow issues?
Yes, it led to more predictable cash flow, better financial planning.
Wow, that's impressive. What's the last example?
Okay, so this one's about a payment solutions provider.
Okay.
Their clients were really hesitant to approve large transactions.
Yeah,
because they weren't confident in the system's reliability and security.
They didn't fully trust it.
Yeah, so the provider redesigned their interface.
Okay.
They added immediate visual feedback, subtle animations that showed secure processing.
It's like reassuring them that everything was okay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it worked. Users felt more confident.
And they were more likely to approve those large transactions.
Exactly. It really strengthened the provider's reputation.
So it's about building that trust, that sense of security.
Totally.
Wow, these real-world examples are really fascinating. They really show how these ideas have a real impact.
Yeah.
So for our listeners who have been with us this whole time, what are the main takeaways here? What should they remember?
Okay, so here are the key insights. Number one, your perception of time. It really influences your financial decision-making, how you experience time in those payment systems.
Yeah.
It can really change your behavior, your decisions.
So pay attention to how things feel.
Exactly. Number two, micro interactions and clear communication are essential.
Right.
Those little feedback mechanisms, they bridge that gap between real speed and felt speed.
They make the whole thing feel smoother.
Exactly. Number three, design for felt speed as much as you design for actual speed.
Don't just focus on the back end, make it feel good too.
Exactly. Number four, test specifically for perceived performance.
Ask people how fast it feels to them.
Yeah.
And be ready to make adjustments based on what they say.
Number five, a responsive payment system leads to tangible business benefits.
Faster approvals, happier users, all that good stuff.
Exactly.
So basically, it's not just about making things fast, it's about making them feel fast.
Absolutely.
And that has a real impact on everything.
It affects the users, the business, the whole experience.
Okay, so to sum it all up, the big takeaway is this. When we're designing or using payment systems or any digital interaction where there's a wait time,
Right.
we can't just focus on how fast the technology is.
Right.
We have to think about how people respond to those moments of waiting.
It's all about that felt speed.
Exactly. And designing for that is crucial for creating systems that are efficient, trustworthy, and ultimately successful for both the user and the business.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
And this brings up a really interesting question for our listeners.
We've been talking about payments.
Right.
But think about all those other moments of waiting you experience in your digital life.
Oh, yeah.
Like, how do they shape your perceptions, your decisions? Think about how these principles of felt speed might apply beyond just financial transactions.
That's a great point. It's everywhere if you really start paying attention.
It is. It's in all those little interactions we have with technology every single day.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems like this focus on temporal UX, this idea of felt speed, it's only going to become more important, right?
Absolutely. As technology keeps evolving and our expectations for seamless experiences keep growing.
We're going to have to pay more and more attention to these subtle but really powerful aspects of user experience.
Totally. The future of UX design is definitely going to be all about understanding and optimizing how we experience time in the digital world.
It's fascinating, isn't it?
It really is.
It's like this whole hidden layer of design that we're only just starting to understand. And the more we understand it, the better we can create those positive, efficient, and enjoyable experiences for everyone.